Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? It's Vicious here, and as you can tell by the title, there are some things that I want fixed in the next game from Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, or whatever they're going to call it. And this isn't really a dig. I give Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think I settled on a score. I give it a 9. Not 9.5 or a 10, because of certain things I can go over in a different video. But it's definitely a great game, and there's not a hell of a lot I would change about this game. It's one of the best games I've played in a long time, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But there's some aspects of combat that I feel like could be improved, and I was going to go to high flyers, but I think we should go to dynamic duos. Yes. So there are a couple things that I think need to be improved in this game for the next game, and I think this is the best team to showcase it. There's not a hell of a lot, but just a couple of things. Gotta get past these fucking ghosts. So I think one of the things that needs to be changed is the way some magic is cast in the game. For instance, these ghosts are weak against fire, and that's good because, you know, fire is actually quick spell. It'll just come out, which is a good thing. We want that. So let me just fire this fucking guy. Does that get rid of the what's the name? It does. Thank goodness Aerith. I'm sorry, Aerith has such a proficiency with magic. I want to see if I can get this guy to put up a shield. Just beat him down. Sorry, I got the best parry ever. By the way, look at Aerith's parry. Why is it so good for a non-physical fighter? It's better than Barrett's. Come on. I specifically hate this fight because of the way this Phantom acts. He acts like a complete asshole. But you know what? That's okay. Are we still within the thing? We are. Okay, let's get rid of this guy. I don't have time to play around. I forgot this was even a thing.
Finish him off. Let's finish.
Dive kick maybe? Is that a good move? Oh, you know what? I should have did this first. Sorry, been playing a lot of Neo. Keep forgetting about stuff in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Hopefully I'll fight the Flyers next. Yes! This is what I wanted to show off. Okay, so look at Tifa and how she struggles with the flying, the elite helicopter trooper. Look at this. Miss. Okay, finally connected. Okay, I just want to point out, she has a grappling hook. It doesn't show on our clothing, at least right here, but Tifa does have a grappling hook. Or maybe it broke, I don't remember what happened. But the only way you can get this guy pressured while you're fighting him is to dodge his attack, which I did. You had to dodge his the attack that he does where he gets behind you or whatever. You have to dodge that, and it's supposed to fill up the pressure gauge easier. He's supposed to like stay on the ground, or you can use wind or fire against him. Which there's another variation of this enemy where I think it's only wind that hurts them, or is there weakness, something along those lines. Otherwise, if you're playing with Cloud or Tifa, or hell, even sometimes Aerith, this could be like a chore. Look at that. I can't even touch this dude. Like, I have to have magic because he's just gonna do that. And I think that's one thing in this game that needs to be changed is how to combat aerial enemies. Like, this guy can float, because in the original game he could float, but he never flew that high. And look at this, I'm just getting damage all the while. And let me kill this guy. He's just causing all sorts of trouble.
Can you take over for me? Let's go. There.
I'm gonna kill this guy first so I can. Oh, great. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, so yeah, And when you're playing with Aerith or Barret, of course it's much easier, but he can dodge at mid-air, which I think is just a little bit overkill.
It's your turn.
Tifa, don't even touch him.
Watch yourself. I'll show you what I
Go
can
down
do.
and do your shit. Okay, he missed. But that's because he just did the kick. He was supposed to try and hit me with the repeller. My other beef is Arrow and Blizzard really suck on this game. So let me just show you. Let me use Blizzard. Okay, so I missed with Blizzard. If I use Fire, it would have done the same thing because of the way this enemy is set up. He would have dodged it. And you know what? That's really not a big deal to me. Like, I don't really care that much about that. What I care that much about is how Arrow works. This guy's about to die, so Tifa, don't kill him. I wish there was a way to actually control the other characters too, by the way. Like, keep them from bashing the enemy skull in, because I was trying to make an example. Oh well. This should be good enough too.
Good luck. I'll take care of him.
Of course that happened to me. So, Arrow.
You'll be blown away.
I tried using Arrow, and you see what happened? He got hit at first, and then he just left. It just missed. The problem with Arrow and Blizzard is, if you're not weak, if the enemy isn't weak against those specific moves and gets pressured the first hit, they can walk away scot-free. Unless they're a huge enemy. That's why the fight with Arsenal is like so satisfying, I guess you could say. Because you can walk away from that fight, like or not walk away from the fight. You can just fight that boss, and it's not gonna move that much if you can track his movements pretty good. But this shit,
Sorry about that.
okay, good. He didn't move. That's unlikely. You know, most of the time when you're playing with Aerith, of course they're gonna attack the character you're controlling, right? So imagine hitting a motherfucker with Blizzard.
Don't catch a cold.
And whoops, nope. Okay, he made Aerith sleep. Imagine hitting one of these characters with Blizzard, right? And they just keep moving. It's ridiculous. Now, the same goes for you. Like, of course, you go by the same rules, but there's a lot of times where you get pressured, basically, when you get hit by the first hit of Blizzard. Like when you fight Shiva, and it is fucking incredible. Like, you stay there the entire time, and you just had to eat the second part of the attack.
I'll show you what I can do. Go on. And catch. You okay?
That's another thing. Give Aerith like some moves that actually make the enemy flinch. Cause
Stop it.
yeah, look at that. She's dead now.
Let me handle this.
I think.
Pour it on.
Yep. Good thing I had revival earrings. I don't know why I still had it on her, but you know, good thing I did have it on her, or else that would have fucking ended way bad. Go ahead and use Prey. So those are some things that I think really need to be adjusted in Final Fantasy VII Remake, the sequel. Because it really makes the game not fun when you have to commit yourself to fire or lightning, because Arrow and Blizzard are bad. And I know somebody in the comments is going to be like, well, you could just use Elemental. Like, yeah, of course you can use Elemental, but Elemental, I don't want to have to keep changing the element, because there are enemies that have resistances to certain elements, and there are certain enemies where it just doesn't help at all. They might even absorb the element. Like, I could put fire as an elemental for Cloud on his sword, and this is an argument that I got into on Facebook. Not an argument, more like a debate. I can put fire on Cloud's sword, but the thing is, I can put it on a sword, and like the next enemy I run into could like absorb that shit or be, you know, strong against that specific element. So at that point I'm doing less than optimal damage. So that's why I really don't run with Elemental. And even if I did run with Elemental, it doesn't solve the problem of the flying enemies getting the fuck away from me. So that's a big deal for me, really. Not really a big deal, but like I think it's something that needs to be adjusted and looked at. How do we make Final Fantasy VII combat against flying enemies more cohesive? I think that's something that they should really think about. I'm trying to think if there's anything else regarding combat that needs to be adjusted. In my opinion, my humble opinion, doesn't really mean anything. I'm looking at the moves to see if I'm reminded of anything. Focus shot is good. Lifesaver is good. Man, maximum fury is the best. Charging uppercut. I think the startup for that could be quicker. Smackdown could be quicker. Like, the reason why I really hate Barrett's physical weapons is they make him so slow and lumbering. It's like, why would I ever use these when I have Cloud, like, at all times when Barrett is accessible? If not Cloud, I'll have Aerith. I'm not Aerith. Yeah, Aerith with Barrett. Let's see. Point Blank is whatever. I think the best moves that Barrett has is Focus Shot, Steel Skin, Lifesaver, Maximum Fury. And it pretty much stops there. Like, everything else is like optional after that. Cloud's good. He has Focus Thrust, Triple Slash, Disorder. I wish you could choose which enemies that you could put into the queue for Triple Slash. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it does, because it gets rid of a lot of enemies, but I hope that in the future they let you pick which ones you want to attack, or make it random if you want. Because this shit, you'll hit somebody with a shield and it'll fuck everything up. You won't even complete Triple Slash. Disorder is fucking excellent. I love Disorder. Infinity's End is good. I don't know how to feel about Blade Burst, because you might as well do Blade Burst when you get it, because it's stronger than Braver in most scenarios. And I was recently replaying a chapter where, you fight the shield enemies. I think it's like chapter 2. Yeah. And it was going through shields. And I was like, yo, that's pretty good. But then it didn't go through the boss with the shield. I didn't understand that. Counter stance is excellent. Let's see. Anything for Tifa? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I forgot all about this. Dive kick is fine. Overpower. Okay, so this, I think they need to reword some things. It says, use in conjunction with basic attacks to more effectively pressure enemies. So, this, me and my friend took out of context. Not out of context. We misunderstood it. We thought that it meant that it would increase the stagger gauge, but it doesn't do that. It allows you to pressure enemies easier than, let's say, doing a regular combo would, if you do it within a combo. And it barely works. So I think this needs to be reworked from the ground up. Like, this should give you like a 75% boost in pressuring or something like that, because as it stands, it's kind of whack. Focus Strike is good because you can use it from the air. So when you do the uppercut, you get to use Focus Strike or Dive Kick. So that's good. Star Shower has a long startup, and I'm not sure it really needs to be that long. But, for one bar, I guess it can't be that excellent because it's really good. It increases the strength of the next command executed, but also it increases the stagger gauge. And they don't mention that anywhere on here, so they really, really need to fix these explanations. Chi Trap is good. True Strike. I don't really understand a lot the reasoning behind True Strike, because you could just use an uppercut. You could use any of her unbridled strength moves and get more stagger percentage out of it. I don't know how to even say it. You can increase the stagger damage better with those. Now, I guess you could do this at the end if you have ATB and you've used up all your unbridled strength special attacks, but hasn't really helped me out all that much. Aerith. Yes, I wanted to talk about Aerith because my friend believes she's the best character in the game, and I humbly disagree. Nothing wrong with Arcane Ward. It's really good, especially for Aerith. Sorcerous Storm. Deal magic damage to nearby enemies. Non-elemental, that's important. So it says strike 3 or more enemies. This move kind of sucks because it doesn't like if one of your characters is bounded and you need to get the enemy off of them, this doesn't work very well for that. Like, it's supposed to be a move that gives her a lot of oomph, like, get the fuck off me. But it doesn't do its job right. Like, for all this trouble, yeah, it works when you're being surrounded by Aerith, but I can't really say that it's helped me all that much. What is this? Fleeting Familiar? Fleeting Familiar is good. I do wish that Fleeting Familiar allowed you to get 2 Sorcerous Storms when you're inside of Arcane Ward, or just when you're roaming around, because it really help. Otherwise, Fleeting Familiar isn't that much help unless you're using magic, because when you're using magic, Fleeting Familiar will also use magic, and it's really good when you're inside Arcane Ward. Ray of Judgment. This move sucks. So it's good when you don't have Tifa in the party, because you can increase the stagger percentage, the damage bonus, like she can. But it's very slow. If the enemy dodges even a little bit, if they're walking away, Aerith misses. She misses and she doesn't track very well. And I think that this move is just awful. And it's not that strong. If that makes any sense. You want to use it against a staggered enemy, of course. So you want to like equip her with like ATB, was it ATB stagger? That materia. So you get a bonus when an enemy is staggered, but just using it willy-nilly, like it's not really good. It's supposed to be really strong against some enemies, but it's like, why even bother? You could just, use Arcane Ward and then use whatever magic you have her equipped with. Lustre Shield. I underestimated this. But the problem with this is there are some attacks that go underneath Lustre Shield. I think Rude Shockwave does. And that shocks me. There's a couple other things. Leviathan's Laser goes straight through it. I think Genova has a move that goes straight through it. I wish that there was some sort of gauge on the shield. And I wish that, the shield could take any hit coming directly towards it, because you waste ATB to use this, right? And the shield doesn't follow you, so you have to like sort of remember what pocket you're in. And that brings me to another point, that the AI for Final Fantasy VII can be smart sometimes. They can be incredibly stupid. I could lay out Lustre Shield in front of Aerith, and she will fucking move in front of the shield to attack with her long range weapon. I almost said lingerie. And that's silly. I'm not off of that. Like, other other characters do that too. Like, if you use Luster's shield in front of Barrett, he will fucking move from behind it so he can get hit. It's incredible. I think they need to program it so if you put Luster's shield in front of whatever particular ally, they need to stay behind that shit until you take control of them. And then after that, I wouldn't even blame it that the AI didn't go right back behind it. That's fine. ATB Ward. Oh my goodness. I hated this move because I didn't understand how it worked. Because I looked at it for a slight second. So, Conjure Magical Ward. Allies who use ATB within a regain partial ATB from your gauge. Cost 2 ATB. So not only does this use up all your ATB, but any ally that's within this ward, even if you cast it on yourself or any other character, they will drain your ATB. So the only way this could be useful is if Aerith has Skill Master, ATB Stagger, and also she has Haste activated on her. And that's the way it could be useful. But as it stands, it's you have to have so many materia. If I had no materia on certain characters that, complement this specific move, you're kind of fucked. I don't understand why you would even use it. Like, just use haste on everybody. But I think that does it for concerns I have about the game. Speed some of Barrett's physical attacks up. Cloud is fine. Tifa is cool. Just make better explanations. Aerith has some okay techniques. And fix physical combat against flying enemies. And make other, like, certain magics like Arrow and Blizzard activate as soon as they touch an enemy. And that's it.